So again, Genesis chapter 1 to 13. What words stand out before we jump into it? In the
And
beginning,
God said,
God said. What else? What other words stand out in this?
Heavens and earth.
Heavens and earth. Thank you.
In the beginning,
In the beginning, yes, amen.
God created.
God created. Let there be light.
God said it was good.
Yep. God called the light day and the darkness night.
There was evening and there was morning, the first day.
The first day.
And it was so.
And it was so.
God called.
God called, and God saw that it was good.
Bearing seed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole message of sustainability that it can.
Absolutely. The what other words stand out?
The third.
The third day. It's a busy 3 days. So plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing seed, bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds.
Yeah.
Yep.
The spirit of God.
The Spirit of God.
Oh, I need to go all the way back. Spirit of God was hovering over the waters.
Over the waters. So the Spirit was God, was there from the beginning, huh?
Yeah.
That's an important message. Important message. Would somebody like to read it a second time?
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the third day.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. So what are we, there's so much focus on, this idea of evolution versus creation, and we spend so much time, but we kind of miss the message here. So what is this saying to us? In the beginning, there's so much here. Yeah.
It's like God can fill what is empty, just like he can fill in our lives what is empty by providing for us. But an empty life is formless, and he helps to form us. I get that from the very first verse.
And this can be taken as in the beginning of worshiping God.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In the beginning of worshiping God. It's not the literal sense, but in the beginning of worshiping God, the earth was formless and empty.
Mm-hmm.
There was no spirit. There was no spirit.
He's the creator of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And that word, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Now that light, is that the passion for God? Is that the belief? Is that the light?
Mm.
And he's the light.
And he's the light. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Jesus, the light of the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When the scientists jump in and look at this, they always say that these days may have lasted millions of years.
Mhm.
Although the strict people say, no, a day is a day. So I'm not sure how to come out on this one.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I did it. But if you really think, if you step away from literal, and you really look at in the beginning, in the beginning of faith, in the beginning of God, in the beginning of religion, there was light and there's dark, and there was an emptiness before this.
Yeah.
And there's
that,
something that grows over time.
the
Your faith grows over time, you know?
I think as imperfect human beings, we try to make things literal, instead of kind of stepping back and saying, well, what is God really saying here?
Mhm. And I
Mhm.
reason separated the light from darkness, so you can see if you are in the light or you are in the darkness.
Mhm. Mhm. What else? What else?
I just like how in it he's so purposeful in all
Progression.
that he does. So and night, there was evening and there was morning the first day. It just from dark to light. It's
Mhm.
almost as I take it as a promise. No matter how dark it is, it's going to go to the light. It doesn't go from light to dark. It goes from dark to light.
Mhm.
That makes any sense to
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
And also, he's saying here that fruits.
Mhm.
We have to you produce fruit, so
Mhm.
you bear fruit.
There's like also a progression. There's a progression like when and 4 says God saw. So one thing is created and then you see it opens up a whole new look of at things around, and I can do better. It's like I can do better than this. And it's a progression of goodness, and it's a progression of 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 falling into that space or that place where we need to be.
Mhm. Mhm.
The phrases that keep jumping out at me is that everything God did, the verses start with, and God said.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then, and then at the end it says, and it was so.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
whatever he
Mhm.
declared to happen, happened.
Mhm.
and everything that he created in the last verses, it says there was seed bearing
Mhm.
according
Mhm.
to their kind. There was the seed in everything.
Mhm.
Mhm. The seed, yes.
And
Yes.
what every there's a reason behind it.
Mhm. It's very deliberate, right? Very deliberate.
And for the seed, for the seed bearing, you have to lay the ground first.
Mhm.
And he laid the ground first for that to happen.
Yeah, and it says that the ground, if you said you throw seeds on the ground that you cannot germinate, it cannot grow, it's in the Bible somewhere it says that, yeah.
And if you notice, if you look at all of the Old Testament, this is among the clearest language in the Old Testament. Isn't it interesting?
Mhm.
This is clearer than most of the
Mhm.
other language. It's a little more obtuse.
Mhm.
And just, it's, I mean, it's very intentional that way. And it's just kind of interesting how, you know, how well written and deliberate this is versus many other things in the Old Testament.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think that's why we try to literalize, if you will, literalize this, that But if you see the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters,
Mhm.
you know, and so this is a spiritual birth of the world,
Yeah.
that there was just darkness, there was no spirituality before, rather than just literally, you know, the sky appeared and land appeared and water appeared and animals appeared. It's not really saying that. But I think the message is deeper for us, as we go through our lives, to really think about that.
Mm.
Yep. He took time to plan everything. And everything
Yes.
he planned is in today.
Yeah.
Bridget, you're breaking up for me. I'm not sure.
Oh, you hear me? You hear me now?
Yeah, we could hear. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You were. The internet was going in and out there for. So what else? What else are we seeing? What else are we seeing here?
And just like he planted a seed in us.
Mm-hmm.
So he planted that the seed in the vegetation. I believe he planted the same seed in us where we grow and
Exactly.
we're
Mhm.
watered and we're fed by him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see the evaluation. Even God evaluated himself. He created this and then he stepped back and, okay, so let me check this out.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
So I take
Yeah.
that for me personally as I journey, like I need to check myself. Is what I'm doing good? How do I know? Does it bear fruit?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's like our individual spiritual growth.
Right. Right.
How it starts out, it may start out with a lot of wondering, in my, whether you go to church or not, whether you are trying to do the good thing, the right thing in life or not. And as you progress, you start to develop that journey
Mm-hmm.
that starts out with almost nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts to grow.
It leaves me with the impression that God deliberately and purposely developed and created the earth as the center of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
Yes.
so much room for interpretation, Jerry, as you said. I mean, each one of these things could be a billion years.
Mm-hmm.
And each day could be a billion years, and so, but I don't think God is calling us to kind of, say, well, how is this in the literal human sense? It's a guide for us every day. The light and the darkness. Where's the light and the darkness in our daily lives?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's
Let us
good, Pastor.
break it down.
Yeah. He sat down and planned everything. He planned it.
Exactly. Does somebody want to read it one final time, and we'll talk about what we should take away with or walk away with?
I'll try to focus. I'll try to read it.
Okay.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. As God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the vault and separated the waters under the vault from the waters above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening, and there was sky. Where am I? What is it?
And there
God
was
called the full
morning.
sky, and there was evening, and there was morning the second day. And God said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed bearing plants, and trees on the land that bear fruit, with seeds in it according to their various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kind, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the third day.
Amen. Amen. So what's the message as we walk away today from this?
God's intention was all of us to reproduce plants, people. That's why he planted a seed and everything he did so it can be reproduced.
And we see the Spirit hovering over the waters. So the Spirit is everywhere. We see the separation of light and darkness. Right? If we take this figuratively, we see the beauty of God's world, the beauty of nature,
The goodness of God.
the goodness of God, and the treasure that we have that's called earth.
Yeah.
That we're destroying. There's a purity and simplicity to this as well. To think about how do we live our life is, what's really important.
It's the same beauty and simplicity that comes through the entire Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he will be with us till the end of the age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
God's a provider.
A provider, a producer, a creator, provider, a producer.
He existing millions and millions years ago, we still exist.
And so do the trees and the fruit-bearing trees and the plants and the vegetation. You can get up each morning and just look out, and you can be reminded of all of his goodness if you just take the time just to look out.
Yeah. And then I think he made it for us to enjoy it too, just like we saying, for us to look out, drink the water, even swim in the water and cool down. I mean, the goodness of God is everywhere in everything that we see. Even in the darkness, we go to sleep. In the morning, we see daylight and the fruit. It's a journey, and it's a thing that he made all that for us to enjoy too, Yeah, make for my children. It's a father making all these things for us. How a father think about making things, doing things for their children. The love and the joy of God.
And just to think, as the thousands of years this was written, we could walk outside right now and see exactly this. This describes outside now, just as it did thousands of years ago.
Yes.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It's like everything that God provided for us is GOOD, good.
Good. Exactly.
That's exactly right. I was thinking the same thing, but I'm in the framework of how do I evaluate my life? And if I was preaching the sermon, is it good? That's what I would say. Is it good? That's the barometer. That's where I'm checking. Is it good? Because if it's not good, more than likely it's in darkness, and therefore it helps me to, get back on the right track with God. Is it good?
Well,
If it's
and
not
sometimes,
good, it's not God.
see, that's a great point, because sometimes we are so focused on excellence, we don't think good is good enough.
Yeah.
And so maybe we overdo it. If God says good is good enough, then why do we need to overdo it?
And that's
Amen.
why we have to also think of our lives like that, because there's so many people out there, young people too, committing suicide because they don't believe that they're good
Right.
enough.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
God
yeah.
made you, you are good enough.
You are good. Exactly. You are good, no matter who you are. So,
I think we have to stop comparing ourselves
yeah.
it's too much competition going on.
Mhm.
Everyone wants to be this, or somebody wants to be great, when God is showing us and telling us that I created all of you and I created all of you special.
Amen.
So
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Eh,
And words in here, yeah, he said twice, kindness. I mean, kind, like kindness of God. God is kind, so we try to be kind too. We try to be like him.
Right.
And
To be kind and good
yeah,
is living the word. So I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll take some private prayer requests.